What is friendship? No, seriously, what even is friendship? And maybe more importantly, what does it mean to be someone's best friend? Emotional bonds like these are what keep us human. Whether we have all but one best friend or whole entire group of them, these relationships are incredibly important for our own sanity, as proven by the multitude of psychological studies and papers on the subject. Wow. Whoa. Two such studies read as follows. People who have friends and close confidants are more satisfied with their lives and less likely to suffer from depression. They're also less likely to die from all causes, including heart problems and a range of chronic diseases. This paragraph was taken straight from the very first entry on Google's search, in an article published this past June. How accurate either of these two papers are truly doesn't matter, because it's pretty obvious that friends and friendship are an important facet to life. But as the title of the video suggests, how does that relate to a dark and gory Netflix anime called Dorohedoro? From the outset, it doesn't appear like a narrative conducive for such a real and heartwarming thematic core. I mean, there's one character turning people into mushrooms, and another one gets her face ripped off in a play of comedy. Still, in its very first season, Dorohedoro excels at capturing the essence of camaraderie, what it means to be reliable even to one's own detriment, there to the bitter end, never letting go of that fateful bond, what it means to be a true friend. For this video, I set out to answer the question, what does it mean to be a best friend? How does a best friend be a best friend? But instead of me answering the question, I asked my best friends to answer the question. Like this idiot, right here.
I don't even know where to look. But essentially, being a best friend is all it entails, and I'm gonna make this very short. And it really it just means being there for them through thick and thin. Even the times when you don't want to do the shit right that they're asking you to do.
Like this?
Yeah, like sitting in front of a camera at God knows 10, 11 o'clock at night when you clearly have work tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And yeah, just doing this shit because they're your best friend, right? That's all it is. I think I'm done here. All right.
Q Hayashida's manga corrals 23 total volumes into a dark fantasy seinen unlike many before it. The Japanese manga series originated in 1999 and was officially completed by 2018. It takes place primarily within what is called the Hole, a slums-like town wherein magic users, called sorcerers, are shunned due to a long mired history. Although it tells a story based around magic, Dorohedoro does a great job of setting itself apart from the rest. There isn't cliche wands, witches, or magical incantations of the Harry Potter ilk, nor does it seem to mirror other contemporaries like the Shade of Magic novel series by V.E. Schwab, which is pretty good, by the way. Instead, Dorohedoro is wholly original, incredibly violent, and immensely intriguing. It's got a natural underbelly of humor that few works today evoke so profoundly. While I myself might not have tapped into the manga series just yet, the art I've thus far seen is quite remarkable. Maybe not on the level or detail as that of Kentaro Miura or Junji Ito, but pretty damn close. The author of this manga, Q Hayashida, is, much like the identity of Dorohedoro's titular character himself, left relatively unknown. Much of what is known about the mangaka is told by early interviews, wherein she describes a deep love for the Dynasty Warrior games, which incidentally led to the breaking of her PS2 in a fit of rage, fascinations with joke mangas like Puri Puri Ken and Cat Shit 1, as well as a fondness for such classics as Cat-Eyed Boy, Shigururi, and aptly Akira. Dorohedoro is her first notable work, behind the more recent Die Dark, which likewise shares in a simultaneously grotesque and comedic narrative as her initial outing. Kristen Dorif of Anime Feminist writes, Die Dark is a testament to Hayashida's ability to craft unique worlds that balance unsettling visuals with such a charmingly fun story. And it is precisely this dichotomy between the horrific and the humorous that gives her manga such kinetic energy. In fact, this is the whole point behind Hayashida's work, as she herself tells Viz in a long-lost interview from 2010 how she, quote, always intended to make it that kind of manga. A manga that, as the interview related, balanced darkness and cheeriness, specifically in relation to Nikaido and Kamen's friendship. This is the literal heart of the story, showcasing the unseen gravity between two friends in the throes of life-altering events. Hayashida's characters are often incredibly complex, complicated individuals that elevate the experience through comedic timing, introspection, and social mishaps. This includes even the villains or antagonists of the story. Situated within such a dark, gloomy, and decrepit world, the characters and duos of the tale are what makes the journey truly special. One of the most oddly profound ideas shared by the author directly relates to one of these very same characters in Dorohedoro. The manga features the hilarious personality that is Johnny, a humanoid roach of which Hayashida clarifies, well, I love insects, except for cockroaches, but I don't think it's right that I single them out for discrimination. So that's where I got the idea for his form. Thus, one can see how Dorohedoro, the manga, packs in a swath of wholesome originality, witnessed most prominently through its fantastically dark world, comedically macabre characters, and terrifying underlying premise. It's not for everyone. Yet, everyone should at least give the anime a chance. I too was turned off by the animation style at first, but was inevitably pulled in through its fascinating tale of two best friends as they come together and are ripped asunder in the midst of a world-rending mystery.
Yo, what you doing? Nah. Wait, are you ready?
Sure, I guess. I mean, you tell me.
Are you ready for that question?
Yeah, anime, hit me up.
In real life, or even anime, whatever you want, whatever you want. Answer the question.
What does it mean to be a best friend?
Yeah.
Always defending, always there, and calls you on your bullshit.
The narrative of Dorohedoro focuses in on a reptilian-headed Kamen, whose amnesia leads him on a quest to find the culprit behind his new guise. His compatriot Nikaido serves as the perfect parallel and friend to Kamen along his quest to find not just who changed his face, but also in the discovery of his true identity. She has her own basket of secrets, which makes initial introductions quite compelling in the long run. Kamen himself is immune to the effects of magic, which sorcerers produce via a specific vein on the body that emanates a smoke-like effect. The duo of Nikaido and Kamen face a multitude of challenges, most prominent among them being encounters with a group known as the N family, led by N and his so-called cleaners. Throughout the anime's 12 total episodes, several scenes directly pertain to or indirectly reference the concept of friendship in some capacity. Most interesting of all is how a large majority of the characters are introduced in pairs, alongside a friend, perhaps. To hammer home the point even further, let's dive into some dialogue and scenes laced throughout Dorohedoro that involve friendship to some degree. As a warning, there will be spoilers ahead for all of Dorohedoro, really. So if you haven't seen it already, skip ahead to this portion, or pause the video and go watch, and then come right back. It'll be kind of cool. But yeah, back to the vid. The very first episode, Nikaido almost immediately brings Kaiman back to reality like a true friend with a jovial, let's go get some food. We all know that friend that we have that's just, in the simplest terms, they can get you back into you and being you just by simply being them, if that makes any sense, right? The very beginning of the second episode shows us how the antagonists of the story, named Noi and Shin, are looking out for one another and are very close, or have a history, right? Noi tells Shin she couldn't find the specific brand he likes in the very beginning, and later into the episode, Shin is wearing his mask backwards, which Noi acknowledges for his benefit. In episode 3, the whole episode essentially kicks off with more of a understanding of Shin and Noi. Noi even asks Hokkaido to be friends when they first meet, despite being on opposing sides. Going to show again just how much of an impact and how special friendship is to the show, even in its underlying narrative focus. In episode 4, Cayman goes, "Thanks for being my friend. Promise me you'll be my friend no matter what." Truly awesome. Truly awesome writing. For episode 5, I have a quote here that says, and I'm assuming it's by Nikaido, "Cayman's an important friend." I like that. The next episode, there isn't much really written. I didn't write any notes for episode 6, but episode 7 is the titular anime baseball episode. Of all the episodes, this is one of the better ones in showcasing friendship, right? Camaraderie. We see Fujita annoyed by his best friend being brought back to life. In episode 8, this is also another pretty popular one in terms of showcasing friends. The Blue Night Festival is one of the best examples of how Dorohedoro encapsulates friendship. First introduced in episode 8, the Blue Night Festival is an event that happens every 4 years, wherein sorcerers garner their so-called partners. Episode 9 gives us a deeper look into Noi and Shin's history, showing us and giving us the picturesque view of how their friendship blossomed over the years, which acts as a perfect parallel, or beautiful parallel, really, to Nikaido and Cayman. In episode 10, Cayman's determination is palpable, as he states in reference to going to the N family mansion, "I'm going there to save a really important friend of mine." Later in the episode, Fujita says, "I can't get along with someone who killed my friend," adding also, "We have to save our friends." Episode 11 I skipped over. It looks like I don't have any notes. But of course, in episode 12, we even find out that Nikaido had given Cayman his name. The two make a final vow in the end to be friends forever, no matter the circumstances. These final few moments are the most intimate of the show, encapsulating the importance of being there and being able to listen to your friend even when they might be wrong or in the muck. Life throws some insane curveballs our way, and though it is our job to catch those nasty pitches, our friends are there behind us, ensuring we don't fall or lose sight of what's right in front of us. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out just how important and how deeply interwoven the idea of friendship is to the story of Dorohedoro. Given this list of observations, though small it might be, it's obvious that Hayashida imbued friendship in all characters, but is witnessed most prominently and in its truest form through Nikaido and Cayman's relationship. With that being said, though, let's take a look at what audiences thought and see how Dorohedoro was met in the eyes of the wider populace.
Dude, to be a friend would probably, I don't know, the best way to describe that would be like just being able to listen to someone when they need you to. Being able to dedicate a little bit of time to somebody if they ask you, being there for them in their time of need. Genuinely wanting to spend time with that person, and enjoying the time that you do spend with them.
Okay. Okay.
That
Hmm.
just kind of to make it a simple answer.
Don't go crazy with it, right?
Yeah, yeah, that would kind of be my definition of a friend. At least one that like, if I wanted somebody to be my friend, that would be traits that I would hope that they would have. Because just at the very minimum, enjoying the time that you spend with me is probably the biggest one. If you're not enjoying it, then like, yeah.
Say what you will about the animation style. I do agree it doesn't look the best at times, but an anime's outward acceptance doesn't have to hinder on its base level art, unless it's 2016's Berserk. Dorohedoro's story and pacing both work rather soundly together, despite a somewhat subpar landing with the animation. But I still think it all coalesces well. This is due largely to the fact that the source material is very boxy and eclectic. In the 2010 interview, Hayashida described the materials she uses for the background collages as including cloth, spray paint, and even cardboard boxes from places like Amazon, adding that she uses, quote, whatever I feel like at the time. Thus, the animation kind of fits Hayashida's own imagination to some degree, and allows the story a more intimate, more relatable effect in its on-screen relationships. To add, it's got one of the trippiest anime intros that sets up its entire premise from the very get. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This thing's trippy as hell, man. Dorohedoro was an absolute fever dream in all the best ways. There's so many awesome sequences I didn't even get to talk about, like the Don't Go to My House dream sequence that came in Experiences, or the very scenes Vegeta finds himself in, like having to dress Ibisu in the beginning of the season, or wearing his friend's entrails around his neck. Reviews are mostly positive. Dorohedoro currently sits at a 100% tomato meter, beside a 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and has an 8.1 on IMDb, which is very good, quite good, better than I had anticipated, to be quite frank. Critics rave its atmosphere, characters, and humor, showing just how much Hayashida's original concept developed into an astounding series, one that now seemingly sits unattended on a shelf somewhere. Some reviews include John Serba of Decider, quote, Dorohedoro is extreme and sometimes extremely entertaining. Princess Weeks of the Mary Sue describes, quote, Dorohedoro is a bizarre science fiction seinen series that starts off just looking like a typical gore fest, but ends up being really compelling while also grossing you out from time to time. Kimboli Campbell of Thrillist says, quote, despite its seemingly grim setup, Dorohedoro defies typical revenge narrative darkness through sheer charisma, homing in on the relationships between its bizarre, larger-than-life characters. Jeffrey Harris of 411 Mania says, quote, Dorohedoro's heart is the exploration of friendship and what it means to discover true companionship despite some rather bizarre and odd settings. Trash Taste even offered some insight into the show in a now 3-year-old highlight wherein Giguk details his grievances with Dorohedoro as being that, quote,
nothing really happens.
Read
That
the
was
manga. That's why you read the
Dorohedoro.
manga, bro.
That was Dorohedoro for me.
Garnt goes on to describe how, quote,
It just didn't feel like a season.
and that he, quote,
Wanted a moment I could think back to Dorohedoro and be like, that was a great show.
much of the issue here, at least in my opinion, lies in the wide range of characters that Dorohedoro presents. With so many varied storylines to tell, in one 12-episode show, specifically in pairs no less, it can get draining. Connor jokes about the 7th episode being a highlight, called the All-Star Dream Game. Though it is ironically this very episode that showcases friendship the most, given that the entire cast comes together for a friendly game of baseball. Another major problem underpinning the show, in terms of Giguk's complaints, is its non existent follow up. Even now, 3 years removed, no news exists on any potential season 2, as neither Netflix nor MAPPA have announced anything in regards to Dorohedoro or its future. I'd like to stop and take notice of the ongoing issues currently at MAPPA with the animators going through some kind of rough times, crunch and other issues. Season 2 of Dorohedoro would require more work from them, and that's just out of the question, clearly. And obviously that should go without saying. Thus far, according to We Got This Covered, the show has not been renewed for a second season, meaning it will most likely languish in uncertainty and fade into obscurity. Still, animation takes time, and no response is a good response. It's better that Netflix hasn't signaled an end in sight, thus fans can look forward to something long term. And there's always the manga to dive headlong into. At this point, though, you might be asking yourself, okay, but why watch this anime if it's not even finished? Well, neither was 1997's Berserk, which, when I finished, led me down the rabbit hole that is Mura's awesome and incredibly detailed manga. I'm currently on volume 15. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe a second season of Dorohedoro will come about. Even if one doesn't, the first is such an endearing, strange, and thought-provoking narrative, filled with characters that test your emotions to the point where it's hard to put down. Plus, there's also 23 total volumes of source material to get lost in. Time now more than ever to get lost, I guess. What do you think it means to be a friend, like a best friend?
Huh. A best friend. All jokes aside, I would say being a best friend or even a true friend really boils down to, a few traits. One is going to be trustworthiness, loyalty, and reliability. If you got all three of those, that's a true friend. Someone who's going to be there for you, someone who's going to keep it to you straight, someone who's always going to want to see you win. You got them three, you can't lose, my boy.
It's interesting, most of all, for me, how Hayashida's work was born out of a want for creation. In an interview with Manga Board, the mangaka says, quote, "I guess I didn't really have any overall story. I just went on drawing scenes that I wanted to draw." Hayashida literally allowed the friendships on the page to blossom and materialize organically through the art of pen and paper. It just goes to show how powerful friendship is, even in a creative function, drawing seemingly complete nobodies into a world of mystery and intrigue that hinges on their relationships. That's what makes Dorohedoro such a fascinating tale. One that most, not all, but most anime enjoyers should watch, especially given its 12-episode runtime. It's no secret that friends are an important aspect to one's journey through life, and while it's just an anime, albeit a first season at that, if we're lucky, Dorohedoro still provides a compelling thesis on the nature of companionship and friendships in our inevitable success. Keep the ones that matter, the ones that truly give a shit, extra close, and never lose sight of that togetherness, that glue. If you like the content, maybe consider subscribing or at least hitting the updoot button. If not, you can tell me how I'm wrong or an idiot in the comments section. Love reading those. Those are pretty sick. While you're down there formulating an insult, tell me some video games or anime that you'd like me to cover. I would love that. Love experiencing new shit. So if there's something cool you want me to cover, well, maybe it's a Japanese game, maybe it's some weird anime from the 80s, whatever it be, Tell me. One final thing before I go. One final thing. Make sure to call a friend. Make sure to call a friend. You never know how much time you both have left, and whether you have to bury the hatchet, rekindle the flame, or reminisce on times long past. Now, more than ever, there's no better time than to reach out and bond once more. We're now living in such a critical moment in history, an era that has no shortage of divide. Politics, economics, spirituality, even culture have no sooner become increasingly high barriers for us all to bond on a more personal, positive scale, and it's truly a depressing sight. We need now, more than ever, to remain vigilant and together. As already mentioned in the intro to the video, our bonds are what make us human. Without them, we become nothing more than one-note echo chambers. So it is important to nurture and grow the relationships that matter, no matter if you're 14 or 40. As always, don't drown out there, lads. And may your best of friends keep you afloat in this ocean of time we call life.